Message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, good evening. It's 9 p.m. I'm Ben Leo. Tonight.
If you don't comply with that,
we need the area to get it now.
You will be arrested.
Yes, breaking this evening, police have now allegedly banned protesters from demonstrating outside the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf, London, for 28 days. Elsewhere, though, 2 men, believed to be Afghan asylum seekers, have been charged with the alleged rape and strangulation of a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton, Warwickshire. Also tonight.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
The Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice, says that ditching Ed Miliband's net zero targets could save families up to £1,000 a year. Is it time then to let go of the net zero dream? And
what it means to be English. We stand up for what we believe in, even when it's not easy. And as we witness the rise of populism and prejudice around the world, it's more important than ever that we stand up for our values of democracy.
Really? Is that what it means to be English? London Mayor Sadiq Khan, under fire, drawing sharp criticism, describes in a New York Post op-ed as culturally segregated and unrecognisable. His city, London, now feels dominated, they say, by conservative Muslim norms, lacking integration and civic cohesion. Is London failing? Also tonight.
Continued membership of the European Convention on Human Rights is making it impossible for us to deport terrorists who are here walking our streets, to remove dangerous foreign criminals like rapists and murderers and paedophiles.
Big story brewing. The Home Office has reportedly tried to silence Robert Jenrick after he claims terror suspects had crossed the channel on small boats. He joins me later tonight, live in the studio, to discuss more on why he's being censored. Joining me this evening on the panel, businessman and activist Adam Brooks, political commentator Chloe Dobbs and the former Labour MP and Minister Bill Rammell. And any Bonnie Blue fans in the house, what do you think about this?
I think they should be at age verification, but I think you need to understand they're going to find it anyway.
Yeah.
So
OK, a big 2 hours coming up, including the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. First, though, let's get your news headlines with Aaron Armstrong.
Thanks, Ben. Good evening to you. Our headlines. Thousands of drivers who were mis-sold car loans could receive payouts in a £1 billion compensation scheme. The financial regulator says many firms did not comply with the law or disclosure rules when they sold the scheme to customers. However, victims of mis-selling of finance will get less than £950 each. The total cost of the scheme is estimated to between £9 and £18 billion. Oasis say they are shocked and saddened to hear of the death of a man during one of their concerts. It was at Wembley Stadium last night. Police say a man in his 40s was involved in a fall at around 10 o'clock last night and was pronounced dead at the scene. They're asking for anyone who may have witnessed the incident or caught it on mobile phone to call 101. A fifth person's been charged by counter-terrorism police after activists damaged military aircraft at RAF Bryce Norton in June. 22-year-old Mohammed Umar Khalid has been charged with conspiracy to commit criminal damage and conspiracy to enter a prohibited place. He's been remanded in custody and is due to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on Monday. Palestine Action, who've since been prescribed under anti-terror laws, took responsibility for the break-in, which caused an estimated £7 million worth of damage. The government says plans to bring seriously ill or injured children from Gaza to the UK for urgent treatment are progressing at pace. The Sunday Times has reported that up to 300 children could be evacuated here to receive free medical care within the coming weeks. UNICEF has estimated that more than 50,000 children have been killed or injured in Gaza since October 2023. Meanwhile, an aid group there has accused Israeli forces of targeting its headquarters, killing one of its workers and injuring 3 others. The Palestine Red Crescent Society says the building in the southern city of Han Yunis was clearly marked and known to the military. Israel has denied any knowledge of the attack. Plans to introduce a new fast-track scheme to tackle the asylum claims backlog have been unveiled with the aim of making decisions within weeks. It comes as yet another protest has been taking place outside the Britannia International Hotel in Canary Wharf, which received around 60 migrants on Friday. One person has been arrested in the latest protests. A series of demonstrations have taken place over recent weeks as tension over asylum hotels has flared. And Russia says a Ukrainian drone attack is responsible for a huge fire burning near an oil depot near the Black Sea resort of Sochi. Huge pillars of smoke have been seen pouring out of the facility. It's caused flights at the local airport to be temporarily halted. Ukraine's military says it also struck an airfield nearby. Meanwhile, at least 7 people have been injured and dozens of homes destroyed after a Russian missile hit the Ukrainian southern city of Mykolaiv. And the BBC's launched an investigation into alleged cocaine use by 2 stars of Strictly Come Dancing. The claims were first reported by The Sun on Sunday. It's understood the broadcaster has hired an external law firm to investigate the allegations, which a source says were well known to people who worked on the show. A spokesperson says the BBC has clear protocols and policies in place for dealing with serious complaints. Those are your headlines. I'll be back with more at 10 o'clock.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Very good evening to you. Thank you for your company. Welcome to Ben Leo Tonight. 2 men believed to be Afghan asylum seekers have been charged with the alleged rape and strangulation of a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton, Warwickshire. Ahmad Malakil, 23, has been charged with rape, and Mohammed Kabir, also 23, has been charged with kidnap, strangulation and aiding and abetting the rape of a girl under 13. Both denied the offences when they appeared at Coventry Magistrates Court, and they've been remanded in custody until their court appearance at Warwick Crown Court on August the 26th. Warwickshire Police are asking anyone who is in the Sherville Street area of Nuneaton around 8:30pm and 9:45pm on July the 22nd to come forward if they have any information. It's been reported in the Mail on Sunday today that Warwickshire Police advised local councillors and officials not to reveal the asylum seeker background of the 2 suspects for fear of, quote, inflaming community tensions. Warwickshire Police did not deny tonight that the Mail on Sunday reported that. The force said there's been some questions about what we do and don't release as part of a high-profile investigation such as this. Following the rape of a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton on July the 22nd, we started an immediate and fast-moving investigation. This provided specialist support for the victim and involves detectives, neighbourhood teams and experts from across the force. The impact of such a crime is felt across the community, of which we are a part. They went on. Where relevant, sensitive information around locations, details of the crime and policing activity to catch offenders can be shared, with a warning that this is sensitive or confidential information and disclosure by those being briefed could affect future court hearings. Once someone is charged with an offence, we follow national guidance. This guidance does not include sharing ethnicity or immigration status. So the police have explained there why they attempted to suppress information from the public. But when it comes to the likes of the Liverpool car attack and other incidents involving white people, it seems the police are all too happy to confirm ethnicities, aren't they? GB News national reporter Charlie Peters tweeted this earlier today. He said, police were happy to release details of the white British male they arrested after the Liverpool parade collision, but when asylum seekers are arrested for allegedly abusing children, local authorities keep it quiet. This double standard is so dangerous. Jonathan Hall, KC, a top anti-terror czar for the government, touched on the issue of police transparency after the Southport massacre. He said, in the digital era, if the police do not take the lead in providing clear, accurate and sober details about an attack like Southport, others will. Social media is a source of news for many people, and near silence in the face of horrific events of major public interest is no longer an option. So why is nobody still listening to the likes of Jonathan Hall? The Nuneaton allegations follow the charge of an Essex asylum seeker accused of sexually assaulting a young girl near a migrant hotel in Epping, of course. The asylum seeker accused denies those charges. Because this is an active case, we're limited tonight as to what we can and can't say about it. We do not want to prejudice any upcoming trial by speculating or commenting on the Nuneaton case. But elsewhere today, there were other asylum hotel protests going on, including a group of mums who made their feelings clear when it came to wanting to protect children.
Sweet Caroline! Go on track. Good, so good. Good.
And elsewhere, breaking this evening, police have now allegedly banned protesters from demonstrating outside the Britannia Hotel in London's Canary Wharf for 28 days.
You have to leave now and not return within 28 days to this area. If you don't, you will be arrested, okay?
So you're telling me that we're not allowed to come back and protest?
For 28 days because you're causing distress and alarm to the resident of this hotel.
Is there anything
if you don't comply with that,
We need the area to be
you will be arrested.
The police have reportedly enacted Section 42A of the Criminal Justice and Police Acts, claiming the protests are causing distress to the residents of the hotel. Well, let's get the thoughts of my panel tonight. Businessman and political activist Adam Brooks, the political commentator Chloe Dobbs and the former Labour MP and Minister Bill Rammell. Good evening, panel. Welcome along. Chloe, ladies first. We'll start with you. As I said, just to clarify for viewers, we can't talk about the Nuneaton situation really at all because it's an active case and I don't want to risk prejudicing that case. However, in relation to the Britannia Hotel, protesters have been told you cannot protest here now for the next 28 days, allegedly. What does that tell us about the way that the government and the police are dealing with the asylum hotel situation and indeed the tensions that are rising around them?
I mean, I'm absolutely shocked to hear that they've banned them protesting for 28 days there, because all of the footage that I have seen today from people who have gone down there and been filming is you've got a bunch of ladies, mostly all mums, just worried for their children, just having a bit of a party and a bit of a sing-song. These weren't people who were, say, throwing bricks at residents of the hotel, and there are fences around the hotel. And all that's happened to the asylum seekers saying there is they've had, apparently, when they come in and out the hotel, the protesters have sometimes been booing when they come in and out. But I don't think any of them have been hurt, and this really does seem to be a bit of an overreach of police power. There also was a bit of a skirmish there today where you had some people who turned up who were masked. It turns out they weren't actually Antifa, but they had some sort of smoke paint thing. And the police really, really went after them. And a lot of people asked, why don't the police go as hard on Antifa as they did with those people who just had a bit of paint like a bit
Well,
a flare or whatever you call it.
It's clear two-tier policing.
Yeah.
We see yesterday, I think it was the Barbican protest.
I was there.
You was there. So if that was the likes of myself or worried parents or grandparents, you would be seeing batons being used against them. Those far-left agitators were throwing things at the police, were attacking the police. And I expected to wake up this morning and maybe see headlines, you know, far-left violence on our streets, like you would if it was maybe parents or grandparents or people on the right doing it, but no.
Well, I'll tell you what, Adam, there were headlines. The Mail ran a piece, certainly online, not sure about the paper. The Mail ran a piece about the Barbican. I was down there yesterday. They said far-right thugs clash with, was it Antifa or Stop Racism protesters amid police scuffles. I was there. That article was absolute BS. The so-called far-right, who were the local protesters concerned about that hotel, were penned down the road. They couldn't even see the stand-up to racism protesters. And I walked into their pen and they were all very calm. There were no scuffles at all. The scuffles, as we know, came from the masked Antifa lot wearing military-style balaclavas.
There's a clear agenda against people protesting outside these hotels. If you're on the right or if you're a worried parent or grandparent, I've just rushed here from Epping. There was 300 people outside the Bell Hotel peacefully protesting, singing, waving flags and showing their objection to unknown foreign men dumped into our communities. It's not just the alleged sexual attack that happened a few weeks ago. We've had years of, mothers have told me, schoolgirls have been pestered for their Snapchats. They have been flashed in the local forest. Young girls have had vile language directed at them from migrants in the high road. This is a severe problem. And with the case that we can't speak about, we must realise that Afghan and Eritreans statistically are 20 times more likely to rape or sexually abuse people than native Brits. That is a statistic.
That's MOJ data.
Yeah, that is data. So just putting these people in hotels, not knowing their background, we are failing our women and our children, and it's dangerous. I can't believe anyone would counter-protest that.
No.
You shouldn't be allowed to leave the hotels.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue there should be detention centres. Bill Rammell, where does this sort of hotel saga crisis end? How does it end? How does it look? Where does it end?
Well, it ends with the government dramatically reducing the number of illegal immigrants, reducing the number of asylum seekers and ending the use of hotels. And as I've argued on this programme before, that is not going to happen overnight. But let's just scroll back. You were talking about the Daily Mail coverage. So what, the Daily Mail is now biased against people on the right? Is that the allegation?
The headline in the Mail, as I said, not sure about the Mail paper, but certainly the Mail online story.
The Daily Mail that has consistently, over decades, championed causes on the right and pilloried the left.
I don't know. Is the Mail Online, which is a separate entity to the Daily Mail newspaper, it's an operation, that I saw the headline this morning, I read it, it said far-right thugs clash with stand-up to racism protesters. Something in that theme, which was nonsense, because the so-called far-right, this is down at the Barbican Hotel yesterday, the so-called far-right were penned away. They couldn't even see the stand-up to racism protesters.
But the gentle point I'm making is the Daily Mail has no track record whatsoever in championing the left against the right. I'm
not sure what your point is. I was there and I saw it. I'm saying the Mail Online article was BS. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what your point is quite.
Well, your implication is that the Daily Mail is biased against the right.
Well, it was. That article that I saw was.
But let's come to the substance of this. In terms of the ban in Canary Wharf, I think the police need to justify and explain.
Can I just clarify? The police haven't yet confirmed that that's the case. This report's breaking tonight. Off the police footage we showed, a copper saying there's a section 28 and so on. Officially, the police haven't come out to the media and said this is the case. We have been in touch.
OK, and then we need to get the facts, because if they have banned it, then I think there's real questions to ask about that. That people have the right to peacefully protest. In terms of the case that you led with, that we're careful about what we say about it. You know, I welcome the fact that the government has released the nationalities and the immigration status of people in prison, but I do have concerns about releasing the immigration status of people who haven't been yet tried and are going to be tried, because there's a real risk of prejudicing those cases.
Sure, OK, what about... OK, forget immigration status, what about just ethnicity?
No, again, I think there is a risk of, this...
Well, they did it in Liverpool.
And I think they were wrong to do it in Liverpool.
Well,
and
they set a precedent.
I understand why the police did it, because they felt they wanted to dispel any fears that it might have been an asylum seeker, but I think they were wrong. In the vast majority of cases, and this dates back to the Tory 1981 Contempt of Court Act, you protect the identity of people who have been accused but not yet tried.
Yeah.
One, to protect their rights, but two, to stop the fear of prejudicing the court case
and the
so
trial
that it could fall
collapsing. Of course, but I mean, make your mind up then, police. I mean, are you going to release the ethnicity of accused perpetrators, or are you not?
And I agree with you. I think they were wrong to release the identity in Liverpool.
I'd just like to pause the show for 1 minute. There is some breaking news, unfortunately, linked to this situation. A migrant from a taxpayer-funded asylum hotel has been charged with attempting to kidnap a child. That's according to the Sun newspaper, which is out tomorrow. So just to repeat that, a migrant from a taxpayer-funded asylum hotel has been charged with attempting to kidnap a child. The Sudanese man appeared in court accused of attempting to swipe the girl of 10 while she was with her father. The guy's name is Idris Abdulzraig. He's 30, from Stockport, Greater Manchester, and he was arrested for allegedly trying to lure away the girl on July the 13th. He was remanded in custody to appear at Manchester Crown Court on August 26th. So just to repeat that, breaking now over the past couple of minutes, it's in the Sun newspaper tomorrow. A migrant from a taxpayer-funded asylum hotel has been charged with attempting to kidnap a 10-year-old child. He's a Sudanese man who will appear in court. Just to stress, of course, again, this is an active case. We need to be very careful with what we say. In fact, let's not discuss that, but I just need to bring you that breaking news.
How many more? My blood is boiling. I'm sitting here. I've got 2 daughters. I go on these protests because I care for my daughter's future. There's clearly an asylum seeker crime epidemic in this country. We do not know who they are. We have people like Bill that label me far right for my views on immigration.
You still think Adam's far right, Bill, by the way? You do?
You're nuts.
Sorry, continue.
So for the last 2 or 3 years, I've gone on about these hotels and the dangers to our children. And we are seeing heinous crimes, people charged with kidnap, with rape, with sexual assault. And people like Bill will label me far right for standing against that. I think you're a disgrace, Bill, and I think
I think you are a disgrace.
I think the left have a lot to answer for.
Peddling fear and misrepresenting the situation.
Girls are being sexually abused, sexually raped,
that has got to be dealt with.
Allegedly.
And that's got to be dealt with by the rule of law, not by mob rule.
You're a disgrace.
You're a disgrace because you come very close to advocating mob rule.
But you can say these things are dealt with by the rule of law and, the police are stepping in, they're working on it. But I think that the victims of alleged crimes will say, it would be better if it hadn't happened at all and they weren't here in the first place.
It shouldn't be here.
Right?
Absolutely.
Someone may end up in prison and having to serve time, but wouldn't it have been better if it had never happened in the first place?
Absolutely. And we had an immigration
Alleged
and
crimes.
asylum system that was in chaos when the present government came to power, and they are trying to resolve it and move forward.
Bill, can I ask you, do you reckon, you think Adam's far right, we've concluded that, do you think the ladies who we showed the clip of, the mothers down at the Barbican, are they far right?
No, not at all. And there are many good, decent people who are protesting.
So am I not a good, decent person, Bill?
Let me finish.
I think you're far right in the views that you put forward, Adam.
You're a disgrace.
But, however, there are some far-right groups who are getting themselves involved in the demonstrations. One of the women who's led the protests in Epping actually wrote in a paper last week expressing her concerns about the way some of it was being hijacked by extremist groups.
A handful of extremists turning up to hundreds of people does not tar a whole protest. If we did that, Antifa would be tarring every protest that the left does.
And I didn't say that. I said one of the women at Epping expressed her concerns about the way extremists were coming in and trying to hijack
our protests, our peaceful protests being hijacked. But that won't stop us protesting every week for the safety of our daughters, Bill.
Yeah, OK, just to reiterate the situation in Nuneaton, this breaking news I've brought you now, it's all alleged the process, the rule of law needs to take place. These people have not been tried yet, indeed, probably not even given pleas. Just to repeat that news, a migrant from a taxpayer-funded asylum hotel has been charged with attempting to kidnap a child. That's according to the Sun newspaper. The paper's out tomorrow. They're breaking the story tonight online. He's a Sudanese man. He's appeared in court accused of attempting to swipe the girl of 10 while she was with her father. He's a 30-year-old from Stockport, Greater Manchester. He was arrested for allegedly trying to lure away the girl on July the 13th. He was remanded in custody to appear at Manchester Crown Court on August the 26th. Right, let's move on. Up next, Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice. He says that ditching Ed Miliband's net zero targets could save families in the UK, maybe you guys at home, £1,000 a year. So the question begs, is it time to finally stop the deranged march to net zero? This is Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Yes, we did it.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. We couldn't have done it without you.
Absolutely not. It is down to each and every single one of you who chooses to watch us, to listen to us, and to be a part of what we're trying to do. Thank you.
This is just the beginning. Britain's #1 news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Now, before we move on, here's your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a year and get a £5,000 bonus in your bank on top in the latest Great British Giveaway. And guess what? If you haven't got a mortgage or rent to pay, you can still enter and win £15,000. Here's all the details you need.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 in cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. for a chance to win. Text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, good luck if you decide to enter that. Let's move on, because Reform UK's Deputy Leader, Richard Tice, argues that scrapping Ed Miliband's net zero madness, as he describes it, could save every household in the UK around £1,000 a year and preserve 1 million industrial jobs. Yes, 1 million. Mr Tice says net zero is a dream Britain simply can't afford, and it comes, of course, a new poll from Nowcast that projects Reform UK would win a majority for the first time, as reports suggest Labour is pushing rural voters to the arms of the likes of Tice and Nigel Farage. Well, I'm joined now by the man himself, the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice. Richard, good evening. Thanks for your company. I'll talk about that poll with you very shortly. I'm sure you're pleased as punch with it. But first of all, I was reading your piece today about Ed Miliband and the deranged march to net zero. Why do you feel so strongly about this, and where do you get sort of your facts and data from? Because they'd accuse you of just talking nonsense.
Good evening. I feel so strongly about this because the catchphrase of the moment is alarm and distress. And let me tell you, 30 million households are alarmed and distressed at the size of their electricity bills, which have soared in recent years in direct link to the growth in renewable energy generating capacity. And I want the alarm and distress to be on the renewable investors and developers that are lying to the British people, that are conning the British people about what's going to happen to our bills. Because they said, and Ed Miliband said at the election, and ever since, the bills are going to come down. Well, they're not. Everybody knows. The bills are going up. They're higher than they were last July. And the forecast that I've seen are that the bills are going to go ever higher. And over the next couple of weeks, there's a new thing called an auction round, allocation round number 7, where the renewable investors and developers are going to bid their contracts. And there's a new price that's been set of £113 per megawatt hour, about 11% higher than the price last year. But given that it's now a 20-year contract, not a 15-year contract, actually it's about £125 a megawatt hour. It's about 25% more than last year. If you roll this forward, this is going to be about £1,000 per household increase in bills for 2030. And I'm alerting the British people to this impending disaster. I was in a meeting with one of Britain's leading industrialists just last Tuesday, who told me that over 1 million industrial jobs are in peril in this parliamentary term. On Friday, I was up at the Lindsay Oil Refinery with workers there. 5,000 jobs, direct and indirect, are in peril in northeast Lincolnshire, primarily because of the cost of energy. And this ludicrous net zero, I call it net stupid zero. And that's why we're going to war with it. We are going to war with these eco-zealots.
OK, I'm going to bring in former Labour Minister Bill Rammell in just a second. But, Richard, first of all, you said you wrote to, in this piece online, you said you wrote to wind farm developers and so on, warning them to stay away from these AR7 auctions that Ed Miliband is spearheading. You said that a reform government would make them regret it. What does that mean exactly? How would you make them regret it?
We put them on notice that all options are on the table. They're conning the British people. We're not going to tolerate it. And no government can bind a future government with these sort of contracts when it is such an egregious lie. So I'm saying to them, you invest at your peril. You will probably lose money and assume that all bets are off when we win the next general election. Invest in nuclear, invest in gas, invest in oil and gas. But if you invest in offshore renewables and try and rip off the British people, we're on the side of the British people, and we will cause you alarm and distress.
OK, you did just say when you win the next general election. I'll talk about that poll in just a second. But first of all, Bill Rammell, anything to say on Richard Tice here? He's taking a flamethrower to Ed Miliband and the march to net zero.
He is, and I think the question, Richard, is who's the ideological zealot here? You know, I support the move to renewables because they're cheaper and more secure
they're
than
not
fossil
cheaper,
fuel
Bill.
energy. But hold on. If you're so right, why are you so out of touch on this issue with public opinion? The last poll I saw showed 70% support for net zero, with just 20% of people opposed. If it's as clear cut as you suggest, why aren't people with you?
Let me tell you, Bill, I knock on doors all over the country and people are alarmed and distressed at the size of the cost of living. And all of the cost of living is driven by the uncompetitiveness caused by the rise in energy bills, which is driving up everything. And they're furious at the destruction of jobs, whether it's Port Talbot, whether it's Luton, whether it's Grangemouth, whether it's the Lindsey oil refinery, the destruction of jobs, the deindustrialisation of the British economy. That is what is concerning people. And, Bill, when are the bills going to come down? Could you speak on behalf of the Secretary of State for Net Zero? When are the bills coming down, Bill?
But Richard, answer the question. You answer the question. You poo-pooed that poll. So that poll showing 3-to-1 support for net zero, that's wrong, is it?
Bill, you've got a simple question. When are the bills coming down? Answer
Over the course of this Parliament, which was the commitment in the manifesto.
And if you're wrong?
Well, I don't think I will be wrong, but you're not answering the question.
Will you apologise to the British people?
Why that poll showing 3-to-1 support for net zero, is it just wrong?
OK.
Yes, it's completely wrong. Let me tell you, I don't know who's done that poll. I'm in touch with real people on the ground, and I tell you what, they're raging furious about this madness.
Richard, let's talk about another poll. The Nowcast update. Reform projected to win a majority for the first time. 332 seats, taking 30% of the vote, pretty much. I mean, are you and Nigel Farage and so are you sparking up cigars tonight and getting the port out?
I don't smoke and I don't drink port, Ben, but we were just working hard. We're rolling our sleeves up. We're getting stuck in. And we're talking throughout the whole of August about law and order, society breaking down. You've been touching on it on your show, but also the cost of living. And it's all driven by the cost of energy. And we're highlighting this. And if I can stop every household from suffering an extra increase of up to £1,000 per year on their energy bills, then I think I've done the country a great service, and that's the objective.
OK, Richard, we've got about a minute left, unfortunately. What's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest hurdle to reform and your colleagues to winning Parliament? You're topping all the polls for months and months. What do you see as the biggest challenge? What is putting you at risk of falling off the wagon?
We're not going to fall off the wagon. We'll just keep working hard, keep pushing on, and I think at the end of the day, if the economy continues in this direction and energy prices keep going up and illegal immigration continues, then we will win the next general election. Look, if the Labour Party turn this economy around and start generating GDP growth of 2% a year, then we might all be in a different place. Let's wait and see.
All right, so basically, in a nutshell, you don't really have to do much. Just watch Labour implode, you're suggesting.
Well, we want to put forward credible policies that will make people more prosperous again and will improve our society, will improve law and order, will stop the boats and stop mass low-skilled, cheap immigration that's suppressing British wages.
All right, Richard, really appreciate your company on a Saturday night. I'm sure you had better things to do than speak to me.
I think it's Sunday.
Sunday night, sorry, there we go. It's been a long weekend. Our viewers appreciate it, though. Thank you. Richard Tice, Deputy Leader of Reform UK. It is Sunday, yes. That's a nice surprise for me. Breaking news. We just had confirmation from the Metropolitan Police about the segment we aired a little bit earlier tonight. A spokesperson has said, we have not banned protests outside the Britannia International Hotel in Canary Wharf, London. Officers policed a protest for a considerable time today, but a group who remained, who were harassing occupants of the hotel and staff, trying to prevent people accessing the hotel to make deliveries and making concerted efforts to breach the fencing and access the hotel. Their actions went well beyond protest to harassment, and we used powers under the Criminal Justice and Police Act 2001 to order that specific group to leave and not return for 28 days. If a different group wishes to protest in the vicinity of the hotel, they are not banned from doing so, providing they do so lawfully. So in a nutshell, there is no 28-day ban. It was applied to a very specific group. Right, glad that's clarified. Coming up, London Mayor Sadiq Khan is drawing sharp criticism. Is London falling? This is Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News.
hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. The heat is building across Portugal and Spain over the next few days. It's not as hot as it has been across the Eastern Med, and here it's a bit more changeable. We have got some fairly intense thundery downpours across parts of Italy and the Balkans, northern parts of Greece too. Elsewhere across Italy, Spain and Portugal, plenty of hot sunshine though, just a bit more in the way of cloud affecting Madeira and the Canary Islands, but generally dry and fine here. Lots of hot sunshine on the way through the next few days too, and temperatures in the 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. Storm Floris is on the way with an amber weather warning in force across parts of Scotland, where we're going to see unseasonably strong winds and some heavy rain. It's currently situated out towards the west of the UK, but it undergoes rapid deepening as it approaches the UK through Sunday night and into the early hours of Monday. Sunday evening generally starts dry with clear spells for most of us. However, all eyes up towards the northwest. We see outbreaks of heavy rain arriving across parts of Northern Ireland and then later into western parts of Scotland into the early hours of Monday morning. A little dry further south, but still rather cloudy and quite a mild night and perhaps quite a humid start to Monday for many of us into the start of the new week. A very damp and windy start across parts of Scotland, though. Those winds continue to intensify through the early hours of the morning. Gusts at the coast of 70 miles an hour, 50 to 60 miles an hour on land, and even across western parts of Scotland. At first, we could see those gusts even a little higher, around 80, perhaps even 90 miles an hour. Still windy across the south, but a bit of a brighter start here, and those winds not quite as strong as further north. That band of rain continues to sweep its way south and eastwards as we go through Monday daytime. As I mentioned, it's across the north that we see those winds continue to intensify through Monday afternoon. Western coast of Scotland and then later across the north coast of Aberdeenshire is where we're likely to see the peak of winds, 80 to 85, potentially 90 miles an hour. And with those strong winds, despite temperatures being pretty similar to Sunday, it'll be feeling much cooler and much fresher and probably quite unpleasant further north. Tuesday, those winds are a notch down compared to Monday, but it will still be a breezy start to the day, particularly across the north and the west. Plenty of blustery showers feeding in on that northwesterly wind, but generally staying drier further south with plenty of sunshine. And it looks a little drier for all of us on Wednesday. And then perhaps turning a little bit warmer as we go through the second half of the week.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Now, London Mayor Sadiq Khan is drawing sharp criticism again because described in a viral New York Post op-ed, London has been described as culturally segregated and unrecognisable. So the author of that op-ed, which has absolutely done the rounds online, is a London-born Jewish American who says the city now feels dominated by conservative Muslim norms, lacking integration and also civic cohesion. With rising anti-Semitism and shifting public life, she warns London no longer feels like home. So the big question is London falling? And in actual fact, some of you on your say saying London fell some years ago. We're joined now by Lambeth councillor and member of Momentum's National Coordinating Group, Martin Abrams. Martin, good evening. Thanks for your company. Nice to see you.
Good evening, Ben.
I take it you've read this New York Post op-ed. It was pretty damning. It was scathing. But, I mean, as a Lambeth councillor, I can probably guess your answer. Is London falling? Has it failed?
Absolutely not. I mean, it's palpably ridiculous to suggest that London is falling. You might be able to tell from my accent that I wasn't born and raised in London. I was born in Manchester, but ended up making the move to London almost 20 years ago. Married a Southerner, and I'm now raising a young family here. And I live in Lambeth, one of the most culturally rich and diverse boroughs in the UK. And it is just utterly ridiculous to suggest that London is segregated in any kind of way. It is one of the most culturally diverse, integrated cities in the world.
Well, Martin, I mean, you say it's culturally diverse, but for example, white Brits are a minority in London, so that doesn't sound very diverse to me.
Well, that just proves my point, Ben. It is culturally diverse. London relies on migration, and actually, because what we're seeing across the UK in terms of falling birth rates, London relies on migration to keep our city working, to keep our city running. If we didn't have migration to London, then that is when London would fall. That's when this kind of dog whistle op-ed would probably, have a sense of meaning to it. But really, what this person that wrote this article is talking about is basically dog whistle politics.
You think it's racist?
Well, I think...
Martin, it's such an easy cop-out to say, it's racist. OK, let's talk about knife crime. Knife crime's up, what, 60%? Is that culturally diverse?
I mean, if you look at crime rates in London, they've fallen over the past 2 decades. Police figures showing 18% reduction in overall offending since 1999.
Let's talk about knife crime. Knife crime is up 60% over the past 3 years, Martin.
In knife crime, the police have recorded a significant reduction in categories like knife crime of minus 18.1% over the past few years. So I'm not sure.
No, Martin, sorry. The Policy Exchange think tank has released new crime data. Knife crime has surged by nearly 60% in the past 3 years.
Well, I'm quoting from actual police figures, not a right-wing think tank.
So are they? They're Met Police figures. I don't know how we're differing on this so much. Sadiq Khan was questioned in the street by a Reform councillor on this. He didn't deny it.
Knife crime in London is lower now than it was in 2016.
Nonsense.
Okay, the murder rate has fallen 28% from 2019 to 2023. London has its problems.
Yeah.
Like any big city, London has its problems. But London is in fact safer than most other big cities in the UK. The difference is that London is a much more multicultural city than a lot of these people would like it to be. And I think
they just want it to be safe. Actually,
the author of this piece is referencing the fact that that there is an increase in certain demographics,
Martin.
And it doesn't fit with their belief or what they would want to see London to be.
Martin, sorry it's short and sweet. We are pushed for time. I would argue that people don't care about skin colour, they care about the safety and getting robbed with knives, but we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your points, really appreciate it. That's Martin Abrams, member of Momentum's National Coordinating Group. Right, coming up, the Home Office has reportedly tried to silence Robert Jenrick after he claimed terror suspects had crossed the channel. Mr Jenrick is live in the studio with me next. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Now, the Home Office reportedly tried to silence Robert Jenrick after he claims terror suspects had crossed the Channel on small boats. I'm not sure if you remember, but in the Daily Telegraph article last year, the former Immigration Minister, Mr Jenrick, said individuals linked to ISIS had waltzed right in to Britain via the Channel. But just 2 weeks later, it's now emerged that the Home Office's top civil servant slapped him down for speaking out. Well, I'm joined now by the man himself, Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick. Mr Jenrick, welcome along. Thank you for your company tonight. I was astonished when I read this in the Daily Mail this morning, sorry, the Daily Telegraph this morning. You were basically reprimanded by a top civil servant for daring to tell the British public that certified linked, well, migrants, let's be careful how to describe them, migrants linked to ISIS and Al-Qaeda had crossed the Channel into Britain. Do you think you've done something wrong by doing that?
No, absolutely not. Look, I was shocked and angry when I received that letter, but I wasn't backing down. I'm not going to be silenced by Yvette Cooper or her officials at the Home Office. It is absolutely right that the British public know exactly what's happening, and there are terrorists and terrorist sympathisers who are breaking into our country on small boats and on the back of lorries who pose a very serious threat to the British public. The small boats crisis, as I've now been saying for years, is a national security emergency. We've seen terrorists enter the country. The security services are literally tracking these people, and they've got a big enough job to do as it is without having to devote resources to that. We've had terrorist incidents. A man was killed in Hartlepool by a terrorist just last year. And we're also seeing states, hostile states like Iran, smuggling spies in through the small boats. This is a very serious situation. And the Home Office, frankly, should not be trying to cover this up, but actually tackling it head-on to keep the public safe again.
Yeah, and I'm sure lots of people at home would agree with you and what you just said. However, the government would say that you broke or suggest you broke the Ministerial Code, possibly even the Official Secrets Act, by doing that.
Well, look, if they went to as much trouble trying to silence me or cover this up as actually getting on and tackling this, then we would all be safer for it. It is absolutely wrong that their first instinct is to cover up, not to get on, be open with the public about what's actually happening and take action. We've seen this time and time again. Look at crime that's linked to illegal migration. They refuse to publish the statistics. I've been saying for years now, and I'm tabling an amendment that's going to be before the House of Commons in September or October, to ask once again, let's publish the data on crime by nationality, by how you got into this country, by your visa status, by your asylum status. Let's have an honest debate and then, more importantly, act to keep the British public safe. And I simply want an immigration system and a response to illegal migration that puts the safety of the British public first, second and last. every single time.
OK, Robert, I hate to be the guy who rolls out cliches and says, but yeah, you were in power for 14 years. But why didn't the Tories call a national emergency when they could with regards to the small boat crisis?
Well, Ben, I am as angry and frustrated as anybody else. I resigned from Cabinet because I could see what was happening. I could see the consequences for the British public, and I was not prepared to put up with them. I argued that not only should we have the Rwanda policy, but that we should toughen it up by hiving out all of these human rights laws like the European Convention on Human Rights, end the merry-go-round of legal claims. So if you come here illegally, you get detained. You never walk the streets of this country. You never pose a risk to the British public, and you're immediately removed, either to Rwanda or, frankly, back home to your own country.
Can we talk about migrant hotels very briefly? There was some concerning reports from Nuneaton in Warwickshire breaking earlier today. We can't talk too much about that, but I was at the Barbican Hotel yesterday where there were protests, there were concerned mums and dads. This lot, the far left, we talk about jihadi terrorists coming over the channel, the far right is spoken about a lot. What do you make of these guys on screen, Mr Jenrick? These are Antifa far left. I'd argue they're militants. They're wearing military-style face masks and balaclavas. Why is the far left never spoken about in this country?
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely disgusting. Look, I wasn't there on the ground, so I don't know exactly what happened, but I could see peaceful members of the public, residents, women, like mums and grandmothers who are very concerned about what was happening, and then these Antifa thugs wearing masks, you know, trying to hide their identity, posing a serious risk to the public. The police have got to take action against them, or else we're going to see more accusations, more concerns about two-tier policing. I'm very pleased tonight to hear the statement from the Met that they're not banning protests outside the hotel, the Britannia in Canary Wharf, because it's absolutely right that the public can have peaceful protest, legitimate assembly outside these hotels so that they can make clear their deep concern. Because I think the patience of the British public has snapped. Frankly, it snapped a long time ago, and people should be able to voice their concerns. The hotels have got to end. We've got to be deporting these people. I thought that the most emblematic thing that's happened this weekend was actually that photo, which you showed on GB News, of illegal migrants in the window of the hotel, looking down, in the window of their taxpayer-funded luxury hotel, laughing at people. They were laughing at us. They were laughing at the government. They were laughing at the uselessness of the government. Each and every one of those men should be deported as quickly as possible. OK, Mr Jenrick, thank you very much. Apologies, we are quite squeezed for time. I need to read this statement from the Home Office as well. The Home Office did not comment on your case, Robert, but for background, former ministers remain bound by the ministerial code, which outlines standards of conduct. As a Privy Council member, they say Mr Jenrick is also subject to additional confidentiality obligations. It's understood that officials routinely remind both current and former ministers of their responsibilities under these rules. Any quick reaction to that? Very quickly, like 10 seconds. Well, I'm not backing down. The public deserve to know what's happening. There's a national security emergency. Why doesn't Yvette Cooper and her officials come out and say what they are doing to keep people safe? And the only thing people care about is get these men out of the country, support them. Thank you for your time, appreciate it. Back in a tick on Ben Leo tonight with the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News from the Met Office. Storm Floris is on the way with an amber weather warning in force across parts of Scotland, where we're going to see unseasonably strong winds and some heavy rain. It's currently situated out towards the west of the UK, but it undergoes rapid deepening as it approaches the UK through Sunday night and into the early hours of Monday. Sunday evening generally starts dry with clear spells for most of us. However, all eyes up towards the northwest, where we see outbreaks of heavy rain arriving across parts of Northern Ireland and then later into western parts of Scotland into the early hours of Monday morning. A little dry further south, but still rather cloudy and quite a mild night and perhaps quite a humid start to Monday for many of us into the start of the new week. A very damp and windy start across parts of Scotland, though. Those winds continue to intensify through the early hours of the morning. Gusts at the coast of 70 miles an hour, 50 to 60 miles an hour on land, and even across western parts of Scotland. At first, we could see those gusts even a little higher, around 80, perhaps even 90 miles an hour. Still windy across the south, but a bit of a brighter start here, and those winds not quite as strong as further north. That band of rain continues to sweep its way south and eastwards as we go through Monday daytime. As I mentioned, it's across the north that we see those winds continue to intensify through Monday afternoon, western coast of Scotland, and then later across the north coast of Aberdeenshire is where we're likely to see the peak of winds, 80 to 85, potentially 90 miles an hour. And with those strong winds, despite temperatures being pretty similar to Sunday, it'll be feeling much cooler and much fresher and probably quite unpleasant further north. Tuesday, those winds are a notch down compared to Monday, but it will still be a breezy start to the day, particularly across the north and the west. Plenty of blustery showers feeding in on that northwesterly wind, but generally staying drier further south with plenty of sunshine. And it looks a little drier for all of us on Wednesday. And then perhaps turning a little bit warmer as we go through the second half of the week.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Let us take on some of your financial stresses and pay your mortgage or rent for the next 12 months. We want to give you a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an unbelievable £20,000. We'll also boost that by a further £5,000, so you really could have some fun in the coming year. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, good evening. It's 10 p.m. I'm Ben Leo, and breaking tonight.
To go after the criminal gangs, to smash the gang networks.
To smash the smuggling gangs.
Smash the gangs.
To smash the gangs.
Oh, goodness me, like a broken record, isn't it? On the front page of The Express tomorrow, Labour's £100 million pledge to fight people smugglers will not stop small boat crossings. That's according to Reform UK's Nigel Farage. He's hit out at the government and has promised Reform's most significant event of their crime campaign tomorrow. A big press conference coming. We'll bring you the latest on that very shortly. And speaking of Nigel Farage, Jess Phillips, there she is. She's reignited Labour's row this week with the Reform leader by telling The Times he would empower modern-day Jimmy Saviles. It comes after Mr Farage called similar comments by Miss Phillips' colleague Peter Kyle disgusting and demanded an apology. Labour are not only not backing down, they're doubling down. Elsewhere, breaking just moments ago, the Met Police has hit back at claims it banned protests outside a Migrant hotel earlier today. I'm sure protesters down there would possibly beg to differ, but the force said actions by certain attendees went well beyond protest and harassment and used certain powers to order a group to leave and not return for 28 days. Elsewhere, the Mail on Sunday's editor-at-large joins us to unpack Prince Andrew's latest scandals and spill all the royal gossip. Joining me in this jam-packed hour is businessman and political activist Adam Brooks, the political commentator Chloe Dobbs and the former Labour MP and Minister Bill Rammell. And what do you reckon's going on here?
I think there should be an age verification, but I think you need to understand they're going to find it anyway.
Yeah.
So...
Body Blue there, giving us some words of wisdom about the online safety bill. But first, let's get your news with Aaron Armstrong.
Thanks, Ben. Good evening to you. Aaron Armstrong in the GB newsroom. Thousands of drivers who were missold car finance could receive payouts as part of a £1 billion compensation scheme. The financial regulator will consult on a scheme of redress, which could cost banks between £9 and £18 billion when it begins next year. But motorists who were missold car finance are being warned they're likely to get less than £950 per claim. Oasis say they're shocked and saddened by the death of a fan during their concert at Wembley Stadium last night. A man in his 40s is believed to have plunged from the upper tier during the gig, dying at the scene. Police are asking for anyone who may have witnessed the incident or caught it on camera to call 101. The concert was the fourth of 7 taking place in London as part of the Oasis reunion tour. One person's been arrested during a demonstration outside a Migrant hotel in London. More than 100 people gathered outside the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf in a so-called pink protest to oppose the use of hotels to house asylum seekers. However, they were quickly joined by a group of masked men who set off smoke bombs and tried to charge the fence surrounding the hotel. One man was arrested for assault. Separately, 2 more men have been charged in connection with disorder outside a hotel housing asylum seekers in Essex. Following protests last month, 23-year-old Charlie Land and 21-year-old Luke Fleming will appear at Chelmsford Magistrates Court tomorrow. 9 other people have already been charged by the CPS. A 5th person's been charged by counter-terrorism police after activists damaged military aircraft at RAF Bryce Norton in June. 22-year-old Mohammed Umar Khalid has been charged with conspiracy to commit criminal damage and conspiracy to enter a prohibited place. He's been remanded in custody and will appear at Magistrates Court in Westminster tomorrow. Palestine Action, who've been prescribed under anti-terror laws, took responsibility for the break-in, which caused an estimated £7 million worth of damage. The government says plans to bring seriously ill or injured children from Gaza to the UK for medical treatment are progressing at pace. It's understood around 300 children could be evacuated here to receive free medical care within the coming weeks. UNICEF estimates more than 50,000 children have been killed or injured in Gaza since October 2023. Palestinian authorities, meanwhile, say at least 27 people have been killed seeking aid, killed by Israeli forces on Sunday, while they say 6 others have died from starvation or malnutrition. Israel maintains it does not target civilians. Finally, batten down the hatches ahead of storm. It's coming into the UK tomorrow. High winds and bad weather are among the amber weather warnings for parts of the north of the country. Storm Florence expected to cause serious disruption to travel. Lots of cancellations and delays expected with winds of up to 85 miles an hour. The warning zone covers the north of England, Scotland, North Wales and parts of Northern Ireland. That's it for the moment. Now it's back to Ben.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello, welcome along to Ben Leo tonight. The first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages have just dropped. Let's take a look at the Metro. The headline reads, Rat horror for hospital grant. Pretty terrifying story. A pensioner, 82, sleeps with a trap under her bed after rodent droppings found in her drawers in hospital. Pretty grim stuff. Let's take a look at the front page of the Daily Express tomorrow. An extra £100 million will not stop... Sorry, it's The Independent, my apologies. Top judges admit regrets over unfair prison sentences. This is The Independent continue its campaign on IPP, indefinite jail terms, as more than 2,500 inmates are still trapped behind bars. And here's The Express. An extra £100 million will not stop the boats. As Labour throws more money at smashing the gangs, the Tories and Reform warning Labour that £100 million to continue, quote-unquote, smash the gangs is not going to work, pretty much. Nigel Farage letting rip at Labour. Let's discuss that now with the panel. Adam Brooks, Chloe Dobbs, Bill Rammell, welcome back. Bill, so just to put some meat on the bones here, the Home Office is giving £100 million of extra funding to support the pilots of the one-in, one-out scheme, the returns agreement between the UK and France. This will go towards funding up to 300 more National Crime Agency officers and new tech and equipment to set up intelligence gathering on smashing the gangs. I'm so bored of hearing smash the gangs. And by the way, can I just say, I said in the break, what's £100 million going to do?
But it's part of a much bigger picture. I mean, you know, the deal with France can and will make a difference over time. So the French authorities changing their law to intervene in shallow waters, the one-in, one-out agreement, and it's starting as a pilot. I hope it will then be expanded, and that will involve returning asylum seekers directly to France. But also the announcement that Yvette Cooper made this morning to significantly speed up the processing of asylum claims by setting up fast-track courts.
So they're just all going to be approved, aren't they? That's what's going to happen. Well, no, they're going to speed them up by approving them.
No, that's not true. Actually, the figures have gone down under this government to 49% initial approvals, which is a significant reduction on the previous year.
So why have 51% been deported, Bill?
Yeah, only about 10%.
Because they have a right to appeal. And what this plan that Yvette Cooper has announced is about, currently an appeal takes an average of 54 weeks. She wants to reduce that by investing money in the court system to fast-track them so that you make the appeal decisions within a matter of weeks. And that will allow us to return people and really stop the green flag that comes up where people can come here and be lost in the system with their claims not being processed for years.
Just before I get to Adam and Chloe, do you not think, though, we should be focusing more on the facts that this is the land of milk and honey? Migrants are coming here and getting dentistry, NHS passes, they're getting hotels, they're getting Wi-Fi, they're getting free buses into town, they're getting Home Office-funded Aspen cards with 50 or 70 quid a week on, they're gambling in high street casinos. Do you not think all that nonsense needs to end as well?
Well, I think some of the discretionary benefits that are given through local authorities do need looking at. But in terms of the actual benefit that an asylum seeker gets, it's significantly less than a UK citizen receiving universal credit.
They have no bills.
Well, so it should be. They shouldn't be getting any benefits.
But for the record, it is significantly less than a UK resident.
Well, I mean, that's no accolade. I mean, why should there be any benefits at all? They should be put in detention centres and not allowed to roam the streets.
Because we need to process them. And where would those detention centres go? Every time you located a detention centre, you'd have a stack of MPs opposing.
Well, during COVID, we erected 3 or 4 Nightingale hospitals very, very quickly. It was a great operational feat, so I don't know why we can't do that with illegal
And you didn't have local councils and MPs campaigning against them that would happen with detention centres.
I've got a question, Bill. Greece have just recently said that they are detaining or deporting. They can detain them from up to 5 years if you enter Greece illegally from Africa. Why can't we do things like that? They're in the EU. Why are human rights lawyers only on us? Why can Greece turn around boats, detain, put them in tents, and we can't?
Well, I mean, let's see what actually happens in Greece. My understanding is the cost of mass detention would be more than we're spending at the moment through hotels. Yeah, and we need the deterrent by returning more people and by getting to the root of the problem.
Our deterrent would be harsh conditions, and that and once we told and sent that message to the world, they would not want to come here. At the moment, they're looking at 3- and 4-star hotels and calling us El Dorado because we are mugs. Us, the taxpayer, are the biggest mugs in the world right now, putting these people that are laughing at us.
And if you want to properly police this, you need to bring in a national identity card system.
No.
Yeah.
Digital ID.
Digital
Isn't
ID.
it convenient? Isn't it convenient? Tony Blair's the one who opens the floodgates to millions of migrants. Tony Blair, the same guy, by the way, he wants a centralised digital ID system akin to sort of the CCP in China. And then all of a sudden we have a migrant crisis, arguably caused initially by Tony Blair, with legal migration at least. And then the solution is, oh, it's all so convenient. It's digital ID. Yeah. Let's get everyone on the system. Make sure that everyone behaves and is an obedient little citizen.
If you want to stop illegal immigrants accessing employment, if you want to stop them illegally accessing the National Health Service, you have to determine who they are. And a digital ID card system can help you with that. And the British public are in favour.
Bill, do you mean ID cards for everybody or just for asylum?
Yeah, because otherwise...
Why does everybody have to have them?
Because
Why not
otherwise
just,
it doesn't work.
If you've come here on a boat and you don't have a passport, then you have to have this, because you don't have an alternative form of ID. Why should the rest of us all have to have ID?
Because otherwise you can't distinguish who does have the right to be here and who doesn't.
Sure. OK, Bill, I have one more question on that. Sorry to hijack this debate. So someone's come here, you've got Abdul from Iran who's come over on a small boat, and we've said to them, OK, Abdul, let's have your name, please, all your details. What makes you think any of these small boat migrants who throw their passports into the channel, their phones into the channel, we don't know where they are, where they're from, some claim they're 15-year-olds when they're 40, why do you think they're going to give accurate and honest information to sign up to a digital ID system?
But they wouldn't be able to claim that they've actually got the right to be here when they answer those questions in terms of accessing the ID card system. And look, you know, ID cards work right the way across Europe, and they work effectively.
You need honest information from the person who's arriving.
Yeah, but they're not going to be able to say, I'm a British citizen with the right to be here.
They'll say, they'll come from, for example, Iran and just say, well, I'm from Morocco or something.
Yeah, and
you're relying on small boat arrivals to be honest and give you accurate information.
But they're not going to be able to demonstrate that they've got a right to be here and to be able to access employment and access the National Health Service. And I'm not saying it's, you know, a panacea, but it can be part of the panoply of measures that you need to effectively tackle this.
Yeah, sounds like control to me.
I mean, I don't even know why we're even getting on to the debate of these complicated measures like digital ID. Why don't we just start with the basics? Like, don't treat them like kings. I mean, we've had videos this week of these glorious buffets that they're being fed. I mean, Bill, you suggested that they're not being treated better than, better than the rest of us. But show those videos to, you know, mums and dads who get up every single day and go to work and are struggling to pay for their weekly shop, having to feed their kids, you know, fish fingers and peas because that's all they can afford.
I'll say it again, all this debate, right, I've said it for a few weeks now, all these red herring debates about, oh, should they go on digital ID, should they have spending money from the Home Office, should they be allowed into town, should they be allowed to roam the communities, it's all nonsense. It's a red herring debate which I think they want you to have because you're being distracted from the main point, which is these boats and these people shouldn't be here in the first place. You're getting bogged down in silly debates and detail when the truth of the matter is, stop the boats, they shouldn't be here in the first place. It's as simple as that.
That's a slogan, Ben. And it's simplistic.
Well, it's Labour's slogan, isn't it? Stop the boats. The kids farmer loves the slogan. Smash the gang, building foundations.
Your slogan of just stop the boats. Where's the substance? How would you do it? Where's the delivery?
Turn them back. Do what Australia did. Do what Tony Abbott did. One election and put them in lifeboat-worthy vessels.
International maritime law. And
who cares?
You'd need the agreement. Well, yeah, you don't care about the rule of law.
I care about Britain. I don't care about international order or chumming up to lawyers on the world stage.
Integral to Britain is respect for the rule of law.
Not when it's a national security risk.
Our government needs to look after its own people and protect its own people. We've got young girls allegedly being raped, kidnapped and sexually assaulted. I don't care what the rest of the world thinks. We look after ourselves. We are importing monsters, Bill, and people like you on the left want them in hotels and to give them four-star treatment.
No, I don't. I want the hotels to be ended. But I'm not going to lie to people by saying you can do that overnight.
Donald Trump showed it can be done overnight. We can do it overnight. We've just got to stop worrying what the rest of the world thinks. But with a Prime Minister that's a human rights lawyer, he's never going to do that. He's going to bend over backwards for these people.
But, I mean, even if it can't be done overnight, I'd at least like to see some progress after over a year in power. He's not smashing the gangs, he's just smashing the record of the number of people.
Yeah, and the legislation hasn't
just hit 25,000 people
to enforce smashing the gangs hasn't even left the House of Lords yet.
Oh, we're just talking about... Why don't they actually start with being tough on the French and saying, give us the money back or we're not going to hand you a single penny more?
The French have agreed to change their law.
Why have we been handing them all this money whilst they're thinking about changing their law? They shouldn't have had a penny from us until they started doing something.
Why haven't they done it before?
Because it's taken time, it's taken negotiation to force them, and we've got that, and they have changed their view.
Or is it that they want rid of these people that are shooting each other in Dunkirk and Calais and slicing each other up with machetes?
Part of the reason that the French have moved is they recognise there's a shared interest that they don't want a pull factor pulling migrants through France to try and come to the UK.
I've always argued we should boycott the French anyway. Stop buying their cheese, stop buying their sparkling wine. I think there's some great sparkling wine vineyards, at least, in the south of England. English sparkling wine's a lot better. Stop going on holiday there. Just boycott them if they're not going to bother to help us. Anyway, moving on. I'd argue a pretty bombshell story breaking tonight. Of course, last week and this week we had Peter Kyle, the Labour minister, suggesting... Well, he did. He said Nigel Farage was on the side of paedophiles because he has concerns over the Online Safety Act, like lots of people do. Anyway, Jess Phillips, tonight, a Labour minister, the Home Office Minister for Safeguarding of Violence Against Women and Girls, has written an article in tomorrow's Times newspaper accusing Farage of indifference towards victims and putting clicks for his monetised social media accounts over children's safety. She has said, Bill, Reform UK's pledge to repeal the Online Safety Act would empower modern-day Jimmy Saviles. She's doubled down on Peter Kyle's absolutely insane rhetoric about pedos and Jimmy Savile. What's wrong with this lot?
Well, I wouldn't use the Savile analogy because there's a very poor track record. You know, when Boris Johnson tried to use that against Keir Starmer...
Why has she done this?
I don't know.
Do you rate Jess Phillips?
Yes, I do. But it's incontestable that Reform's opposition to the Online Safety Act gives succour to people who want to go online and want to abuse children and women. And, you know... The public evidence is the public overwhelmingly back the online safety measures.
According to what?
According to reputable opinion polls.
A poll? Bill, you love a poll. You love a poll.
Yeah, I do.
But the public doesn't know that half of X is censored because of this online safety bill. There are protest videos that cannot be seen by people that are not verified. There are stories, political stories that are censored because they're deemed too harmful for kids. How is that right? We are being censored online by this.
Kids need to be protected from some of the filth that goes online.
Listen,
you know, encouraging kids to commit suicide, encouraging predatory behaviour.
And porn definitely needs to be censored in that fact, but don't censor all of us. We're not all children.
Bill, can I ask you please about... I mean, Downing Street clearly gave Peter Kyle during the week the go-ahead to say what he did about Nigel Farage, suggesting he's on the side of Jimmy Savile. I mean, it's just insanity, just inane, insane, juvenile. Jess Phillips now doubling down. Do you think she's been given authority by Downing Street?
I don't know. I think it's a misjudgment because, as I said, I think the track record of dragging Savile into this is not a good one. However, there are evil perpetrators who try to get at kids online, and people who oppose the measures in the Online Safety Act are giving succour to them.
Right. Should Jess Phillips apologise?
No.
Should Peter Kyle apologise?
No.
No, OK.
I think they absolutely should. I mean, it's an absolutely outrageous comment, and it shows them for who they are. It shows that they're absolutely desperate and they haven't got a good argument against them. The argument that Reform have been making is that the Online Safety Act, they're opposing it, not because they don't care about the safety of children, but actually because they do, because this makes the situation worse, because it's just driving kids onto using VPNs where you've got even less track record of what they are doing. If Labour want to genuinely address that argument about the use of VPNs properly, then I'll listen. But if they're just going to try and get rid of Farage by saying, oh, he's pandering to people like Jimmy Savile, it just comes across as desperate. And then we're hearing that they're spreading rumours around Westminster that Nigel Farage is sick, and it just feels like they haven't got any good arguments left.
And what's the source for that claim? Nigel Farage himself. I've heard nothing of it.
Well, I spoke to Andrew Gilligan, the former Sunday Times reporter, former advisor to Rishi Sunak, yesterday on my show. He said the rumour was rife around Westminster. He didn't know who started it, but there's a rumour going around Westminster that Nigel Farage is poorly.
Yeah, and where's it come from? The only person I've heard propagating it is Nigel Farage.
I'm just hitting back at you, saying that you're suggesting Mr Farage is making it up, but I'm saying, well, no, Westminster journalists have alluded to it as well. Yeah. Bill, just finally, before we move on to the break, sorry to come back at you. I know you like a poll. What do you make of this new poll out tonight from Nowcast Update? Reform, 332 seats, the first time they've been projected to win a majority
I've never heard of the Nowcast polling organisation. However, is the Labour Party where it needs to be? Is the Tory Party where it needs to be at the moment? No. But these projections of Reform women winning when they're on about 27 to 29% of the vote, just read your history books. That is not where a party needs to be guaranteed of forming the next government.
They are 7 or 8 points ahead on nearly every poll. And this doesn't even include the Jeremy Corbyn Sultana data yet either. Labour could be on 15 to 17% within weeks. And then what you're going to say, Phil?
There have been polls conducted since the formation of that far-left party, and they show 29 to 22, Reform versus Labour.
Let's see how the next few
There's a long way to go. There's a long way to go. Right, stick with us on Ben Leo tonight. Coming up, we'll be dissecting the latest royal news and scandals with editor-at-large at The Mail on Sunday, royal scoop guesser, I call her, Charlotte Griffiths, and on the front page of the Daily Express tomorrow, not sure if you viewers at home have seen this, sad news from an Oasis concert where a fan has plunged to his death from the upper tier. Sad news. We'll be getting stuck into that in just a tick.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
What I want to talk about now, though, is a Christian street preacher who was shut down by London's Transport Police outside King's Cross Station. Now, she has exclusively spoken to GB News, claiming that Christians are being heavily persecuted in this country and that police are not doing this to other religious speakers. Shocking, indeed, if true. Well, are we living in this two-tier approach by the authorities that we hear so much about? I'm delighted to say I am joined now in the studio by that street preacher herself, Monique Bailey.
It is true that the police did tell us that you need a permit, so that is truth, but it's the way it was handled. She was very... It was just astonishing. I just couldn't believe how a police person could come against us like that. Like, we were abiding by the rules. And by the way, I didn't actually put the full clip on just to, in a way, save her, because it actually got worse.
OK.
Yeah.
Monique, can I just quickly ask, if you take a step back and look at Britain, you know, as a Christian, you see the demonstrations that we've had since October 7th, some would say pro-Hamas, anti-Israel demonstrations, pretty overt displays of anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
We've had the Lucy Connolly case. We've had, I would argue, clear evidence of a two-tier approach within our judicial legal system. Do you think that we are actually now entering a society where some groups, some religions are treated much more harshly than others? Do you think, for example, if you had been a Muslim preacher in King's Cross Station, the reaction would have been the same?
Yeah, of course, every religion gets something thrown at them, but I do think, of course, Christianity is the most persecuted, and I do think we will see it more.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Yes, we did it.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. We couldn't have done it without you.
Absolutely not. It is down to each and every single one of you who chooses to watch us, to listen to us, and to be a part of what we're trying to do. Thank you.
This is just the beginning. Britain's #1 news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Coming up in just a second, imminently, sensational claims that Prince Harry gave his uncle, Andrew, a bloody nose in a rather bitter scrap. But first, here's your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a year and get a bonus of £5 cash in your bank in the latest Great British Giveaway. And guess what? If you haven't got a mortgage or rent to pay, you can still enter and win £15,000. Here's all the details you need to win.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 in cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, very good luck to you if you decide to enter that. Here's a question for you. Who would win in a punch-up between Prince Harry and Prince Andrew? A new book is set to lift the lid on the Duke's private life. Royal biographer Andrew Lowney's latest work promises explosive claims from family feuds to secret romances as he digs into the Duke of York's most controversial moments, including an alleged punch-up, which I'm keen to learn more about. Charlotte Griffiths, editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday. So there's claims, Charlotte, that Harry got the better of his uncle, gave him a smack in the chops, and Andrew was left bloodied. Is that true?
Yes. In 2013, they had a fight because Andrew said something behind Harry's back.
What did he say?
We don't know, because Andrew doesn't know, but Harry said, "You're a coward." Essentially, say it to my face. Confirming my belief, by the way, that the royal family is just like posh EastEnders.
Yeah.
So they had this sort of like punch-up, apparently, according to Andrew, and Andrew came out worse. And, you know, Harry was very strapping back in 2013. He'd just been in the army, he was a strong man. And Andrew has been in the army, but by 2013 was a little bit doughy around the edges, let's just say. So not
too much
really
time
a
in peace to express, that's probably.
Perhaps that he lost that one. But I would say that the Sussexes have come out today via their spokesperson and said, look, all of this isn't true. And to be fair to them, it didn't pop up in the book. It wasn't in Spare, this punch-up. And you would have thought if Harry had been the victim of some, you know, bad word said against him,
he would have
told the world about it, because we know that he did list the punch-up with the dog bowl and Prince William. So it's the second royal family punch-up in my lifetime. I can imagine the Queen spinning in her grave about this.
Yeah, is there any suggestion, any word on the street that you're hearing about what the comments could possibly have been? Obviously, Meghan wasn't on the scene at the time in 2013.
No, I just don't. I actually don't know.
Okay.
But I do know that the Meghan comments that came when Meghan came along, Andrew said, "You're absolutely bonkers to marry her, and you haven't done your due diligence, and I don't think the marriage is going to last longer than a month." Which probably is punch-worthy. If you were kind of just announced your engagement and you were madly in love, you'd probably find that a bit annoying.
But Prince Andrew advising on marital relations, I mean...
Yeah, but talk about pot, kettle and black. I mean, who's telling the truth? You know, recollections may vary. Andrew is not known for telling the truth, probably the understatement of the century. So I suppose we have to take Harry's team at his word, because they have hit back very forcefully today and said, you know, none of this happened.
There are lots of other explosive claims in this book, Charlotte. Can you tell us about them? Tell the viewers about them?
God,
there's one about. I mean, can we a long-standing rumour of an affair? Can we talk about that?
Well, there's a rumour that Andrew's having an affair with one of his members of staff. Is that the one you mean?
Yes, a household staff member.
Yeah, household staff member. Honestly, this book, I actually don't even know where to begin. That it is revelation after revelation about the sordid goings-on in Andrew's life and how close he was with Epstein and how much he loved going on holiday to Thailand, and I'm sure the legal department in the gallery are going to...
Well, it says...
soon.
It says here, as a young man, Andrew was said to be juvenile and fond of sly pranks, and sources said not much has changed as an adult. One friend described him as a nightmare to sit next to at dinner, making ghastly jokes about whether ladies were wearing underwear or not.
Yes. Oh, there's another claim that he kept underwear in his wardrobe.
OK,
well.
what's the response?
Have I gone too far there?
Well, I don't know. What's the response from Andrew on all this?
Andrew said absolutely nothing. And the serialisation is, it does, the overall impression of him is his royal oafishness, is what we called it in the Mail. It's just unbelievably crass, ignorant, badly educated, practical joke, just kind of ghastly man. There isn't this wonderful prince. He used to shout at staff for not calling his mother and his grandmother by the right title, called everyone an imbecile, even though he was the biggest imbecile in the room.
Well, that's funny. I was, by sheer coincidence, I was speaking to somebody who works in security today. They used to work at Royal Lodge when Andrew was there, and I said, oh, what was Andrew like? And they had, quite the contrary, a glowing report saying he was always very... I mean, they didn't speak to him too much, but they always said when they saw him in the morning, he'd say, oh, good morning, chaps, how are you doing? He used to take the dogs out every Sunday morning in Great Windsor Park, and they were quite happy with the way he was. So
maybe they didn't see the incident when he ran through the gate and told them all to F off, yeah.
Is that happened?
Yeah, he turned up at the gate and some security officer didn't recognise him, and, of course, he went completely bananas when he was asked for his ID. He said, don't you know who I am, and just ran through the gate, apparently.
OK, all right.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. All safe. Allegedly. Can we talk about Meghan Markle? It's her birthday, isn't it? Is it tomorrow?
Yes. How old is she in turn? 44, is it?
Possibly. Any idea what she's doing for plans?
Well, there are pictures on the internet of her at a holiday camp, a beach surfing holiday camp with her son. So I assume they're having their lovely summer holiday together, but I don't have any insight exactly what they're doing.
44 tomorrow. Do you think? Do you think she's learned any sort of lessons over her recent years? Any wisdom to share?
Is she older and wiser? Do you know? I think she is a little bit wiser. I think she's starting to grow a little bit of self-awareness because her whole media tactic is changing. She's less front and centre. She's having her professional separation from Prince Harry, which I think is almost an acknowledgement, a tacit acknowledgement that her presence next to Prince Harry makes matters worse and isn't helpful for his charity work. So I think this could be the beginning of a slight glimmer of self-awareness from Meghan. And she's got her new wine coming out. So she had a rosé wine and now she's got a slightly better rosé wine coming out.
Oh,
so that's
how
her
did the first rosé do?
I think it's sold out, but the thing is, nobody knows how many bottles really went on sale.
Yeah,
and you had to buy 3. You could only buy 3, you couldn't buy just 1.
Is it a case of they produced 10 and then maybe Harry bought them all?
We will never know, but it does feel like that. But, you know, who knows? Maybe this new wine will be the next chapter.
And just finally, Charlotte, I want to talk about one of my favourite members of the royal family, Prince George. He's a cute little thing. What's he up to?
Well, he's been allocated a house at Eton. Is he going to Eton? We still don't know. They won't confirm it, and they probably won't confirm it for a while yet. But the fact he's been allocated a house shows he probably is going there, unless they change their mind. I mean, they can do, because it's another year before he turns 13.
And what kind of young lad do you think George is growing into? Because we see him in lots of the football. I know he gets... Well, he doesn't get the stick. Maybe Catherine and William get stick for putting him in a suit, but he looks... I'd argue, he will suggest, he looks quite at home in the royal fold.
I agree. I think he looks like a little mini statesman in the making. And do you know what? And the fact that he's going to Eton, if he does go to Eton, now, even if you're Prince George, Eton wouldn't accept you if you weren't that kind of mentality. So it's a great place that breeds leaders and, you know, I suppose a bit like Prince George, you know, people that are very self-assured. He seems very self-assured. So if he is going to Eton, I think that's a sign he is going that way, you know, natural-born leader.
Do you think he may go into the military? Has that been suggested?
Yeah, I wonder. He's shown an interest in helicopters and aeroplanes, and so I think he probably would. And it really has been the making of most royals. So Andrew, when he was in the army, was a successful royal and a nice guy. And all these Andrew Lowney chapters are saying that actually it was only once he left that he went wayward. And of course, the same can be said of Prince Harry. So I think it would probably do him good.
Well, that's one thing we do forget about the royals. I know lots of people who, you know, are against the monarchy like to call them grifters and, you know, sponges and whatever else. But most of them, Harry, William, you know, both accomplished helicopter pilots. William was an air ambulance pilot, was it Norfolk?
Yeah.
Of course, Prince Andrew with his own military service. So they have served the country. Harry has done a couple of tours abroad until he argues the tabloids ruined it, had to send him home.
Yeah, well, the other thing is it's their little taste of freedom. What they love about the army is that you're treated like a normal person, because if you're an army officer, you treat everybody else, whether they're a prince or a pauper, exactly the same.
Yeah.
So they love that sense of being normal, when they get out of the army and they start being treated like a prince again, it goes all a bit haywire.
OK. Right, Charlotte, thank you. Just one more little bit of colour from this, just going back to the Prince Andrew story. There's this quote I've seen from Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister, obviously, who was said to have remarked after being forced to dine with Prince Andrew one time, "I'm the last person to be a Republican, but F-word, if I ever have to spend another lunch like that, I soon will be."
That sounds pretty on brand for Prince Andrew, doesn't it?
Very good. Right, let's get the legal stuff out of the way. The Duke of York has previously denied any wrongdoing and has consistently rejected the allegations made against him. GB News wishes to make clear that we are not in a position to independently verify the accuracy of the claims made in Andrew Downey's biography of the Duke of York, nor the content published as part of its republication or serialisation in the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. The views and allegations expressed are those of the author and publishers and not those of GB News. And GB News separately has approached Buckingham Palace for comment on this. Charlotte, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Are you sticking with us?
Yep.
Yep, great stuff. Right, let's have a quick whiz through the papers. The Eye, the headline reads, "Charge VAT on private health schemes to fund NHS." That's according to Kinnock telling Rachel Reeves. Lord Neil Kinnock urges Chancellor Rachel Reeves to remove the VAT exemption on private healthcare to provide £2 billion in vital funding for public services, and says it will be widely supported by the public. The Sun, really shocking story, which we'll get stuck onto in just a second. An Oasis fan has died at a gig plunge. The band, Noel and Liam, are said to be shocked and saddened by the death. Apparently, the fan fell from height to his death at Saturday's reunion gig at Wembley, I believe it was. The Telegraph, Palestine action plot to swamp police. Palestine action plot to swamp police. Supporters of the terror group plan a protest so big, apparently, that justice systems will be overwhelmed. I mean, I thought they were overwhelmed already. The Mail tomorrow, asbestos kills more troops than the Taliban. The national disgrace of how toxic MOD homes and equipment caused 9 times more deaths than the 20-year Afghan campaign. That's pretty shocking and shameful, isn't it? The Metro, rat horror for hospital gran. I'm very curious about this story. A terrified pensioner, she's 82, she sleeps with a rat trap under her bed after rodent droppings were found in her drawers in hospital. The Express, an extra £100 million will not stop the boats. This is Reform and the Tories crying protest against Labour's plan to pump another £100 million to fight people smuggling gangs. Nigel Farage says it's going to be useless. Right, coming up, find out the true cost of the UK shoplifting epidemic to every household in the country. Any guesses at home how much? We see it, by the way, day in, day out in supermarkets, at the local Tesco, people walking in, waltzing out with stacks of meat and booze and whatever else. How much is that costing you at home? Any guesses? gbnews.com/your say. Back in just a tick.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. The heat is building across Portugal and Spain over the next few days. It's not as hot as it has been across the Eastern Med, and here it's a bit more changeable. We have got some fairly intense thundery downpours across parts of Italy and the Balkans, northern parts of Greece too. Elsewhere across Italy, Spain and Portugal, plenty of hot sunshine though, just a bit more in the way of cloud affecting Madeira and the Canary Islands, but generally dry and fine here. Lots of hot sunshine on the way through the next few days too, and temperatures in the 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. Storm Florence is on the way with an amber weather warning in force across parts of Scotland, where we're going to see unseasonably strong winds and some heavy rain. It's currently situated out towards the west of the UK, but it undergoes rapid deepening as it approaches the UK through Sunday night and into the early hours of Monday. Sunday evening generally starts dry with clear spells for most of us. However, all eyes up towards the northwest, where we see outbreaks of heavy rain arriving across parts of Northern Ireland and then later into western parts of Scotland into the early hours of Monday morning. A little dry further south, but still rather cloudy and quite a mild night and perhaps quite a humid start to Monday for many of us into the start of the new week. A very damp and windy start across parts of Scotland, though. Those winds continue to intensify through the early hours of the morning. Gusts at the coast of 70 miles an hour, 50 to 60 miles an hour on land, and even across western parts of Scotland. At first, we could see those gusts even a little higher, around 80, perhaps even 90 miles an hour. Still windy across the south, but a bit of a brighter start here, and those winds not quite as strong as further north. That band of rain continues to sweep its way south and eastwards as we go through Monday daytime. As I mentioned, it's across the north that we see those winds continue to intensify through Monday afternoon. Western coast of Scotland and then later across the north coast of Aberdeenshire is where we're likely to see the peak of winds, 80 to 85, potentially 90 miles an hour. And with those strong winds, despite temperatures being pretty similar to Sunday, it'll be feeling much cooler and much fresher and probably quite unpleasant further north. Tuesday, those winds are a notch down compared to Monday, but it will still be a breezy start to the day, particularly across the north and the west. Plenty of blustery showers feeding in on that northwesterly wind, but generally staying drier further south with plenty of sunshine. And it looks a little drier for all of us on Wednesday. And then perhaps turning a little bit warmer as we go through the second half of the week.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Let's take a look at the front page of the Daily Telegraph tomorrow. There's a very key, a story I'm very keen to look at least. Apparently, a teacher has been sacked after making a remark about two-tier justice. So they were referring to the Lucy Connolly situation, saying that her prison sentence was an example of two-tier policing. In a post on social media, the teacher, Simon Pearson, who teaches at Preston College, said Lucy Connolly's comments were, quote, obviously wrong, but that she should not have been jailed. He was dismissed after an internal investigation prompted by a complaint from a representative of the National Education Union at the college. They found his online posts had potential to bring it into disrepute. Dear, oh dear. Adam,
what an absolute disgrace. What is happening with our teaching unions? If they're not turning up to these far-left protests, they're sacking people that have opinions. He didn't say it to his pupils. He said it on his online social media. He didn't break any rules or any laws. I think this is a disgrace. And for my opinion is that Lucy Connolly's sentence was shameful to this country. You should not be jailed, especially for 31 months. A mother that had no previous convictions, has a child. She made a mistake, she deleted it, she apologised, and yet we have people that carry machetes multiple times, they're caught and they're not jailed, and we have paedophiles and we have people like Hugh Edwards that remain a free man. I think this country has lost the plot.
Charlotte, what do you make of the fact teachers, should they have been sacked for saying that? Surely it's just an opinion.
No, exactly. And I'm actually reading the online version. It does say that the reason he was dismissed is because somebody, a Muslim representative of the NEU, made the complaint. Now, that wasn't in the piece you just read out. It's not in the print piece, but it is in the online piece, which I find very interesting because the quotes online from this teacher saying, I was branded Islamophobic by this person. And as soon as I was branded Islamophobic, that was it. I was a marked man, and there was a witch hunt. But I just don't think his comment was Islamophobic at all.
So the teacher who commented... Let me just clarify this. The teacher who commented on social media that Lucy Connolly's prison sentence was two-tier, they were accused of being Islamophobic?
Yes, and the person that complained about the comment was a Muslim representative.
I just don't understand. Bill, how's that Islamophobic? If that is it, how's that Islamophobic?
I don't think it is. And look, you know, I think Connolly was rightly imprisoned, and I disagree with what the teacher said. However, teachers have a right to hold political views, and they have a right to advocate for those political views. And unless there is something else involved in this story that we're not hearing, then I think the college have got some serious questions to ask
and I don't think
about why that person was dismissed.
And I don't think that this is some kind of fringe opinion that would bring them into disrepute. I mean, you know, I do plenty of shows where I've normally got to debate someone on the left, and I normally find that even if the person I'm debating on the left thinks that Lucy Connolly deserved to go to prison, there's usually unanimous agreement that she's been put in there for far too long, and it is an example of two-tier justice. So I think this is quite a mainstream view, and clearly one angry person has piped up about it, and
that person is...
It's one of those cases of, you know, a minority shouting very loud, seeming like they're the majority, when it's simply not the case. Most people think that Lucy Connolly has been put behind bars for far too long.
And where is this teachers' union when the Batley school teacher was hounded basically out of their life? These unions are hypocrites, and they are now so political. It is a dangerous rhetoric coming from these school unions.
OK, after the break, I want to talk about this Daily Mail story. This is shocking, the way we treat our military, our veterans. Asbestos apparently kills more troops than the Taliban, a national disgrace of how toxic MOD homes and equipment cause 9 times more deaths than 20-year Afghan campaign. Before we go into the break, I want to remind you of that breaking news from earlier tonight. A migrant from a taxpayer-funded asylum hotel has been charged with attempting to kidnap a child. That's according to the Sun newspaper. They broke the story a little earlier this evening online. The Sudanese man appeared in court accused of attempting to swipe the girl of 10 while she was with her father. He's a 30-year-old from Stockport's Greater Manchester, and he was arrested for allegedly trying to lure away the girl on July the 13th. He was remanded in custody to appear at Manchester Crown Court on August the 26th. Just to clarify again, if you're just tuning in, some breaking news from this evening. A migrant from a taxpayer-funded asylum hotel has been charged with attempting to kidnap a child. That's according to the Sun newspaper tomorrow. Right, coming up, I'm going to, as I said, getting stuck into this Daily Mail story on the MOD, and also It's Good News Britain, the part of the show where we all share some heartwarming stories amid the gloom and doom. Back in just a tick.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Farage, Monday to Thursday from 7 p.m.
Just a few weeks after reuniting with Black Sabbath and performing a farewell concert for fans. And I'm joined now by Alex Dyke, radio DJ, broadcaster formerly of the BBC, who's going to pay a bit of a tribute, I think, to Ozzy Osbourne. Alex, welcome.
Thank you very much, Nigel. You know, Ozzy will probably be remembered as the guy who shouted at his wife in the Osbourne's reality TV show from the early 2000s. But there was so much more, Nigel, to Ozzy than that. He was a pioneer of heavy metal rock. And you've got to remember, in the very early 70s, the rock that was coming out of Britain after the Beatles had split up was progressive rock. It was self-indulgent 6-minute drum solos and things like that, you know, when you think back to early Genesis and Jethro Tull. But Ozzy wasn't that at all. He was a heavy metal pioneer and a heavy metal hero. He sold over 100 million albums with his band Black Sabbath, who fired him in... Nigel, did you know he was fired by Black Sabbath?
I didn't know that. For what reason?
He was fired, Nigel, because of his drug and drink problems. He was addicted. And when we do look back at him 20 years ago in the early noughties in the Osbournes, you could see then he was frail. His body was shot because he had abused his body so badly through... drink and drugs. But Sharon Osbourne, of course, his wife, was his second wife. She was his manager, and he married her in the early 80s. And he came back as a solo star with a brilliant first album called Blizzard of Oz. Ozzy was all about showbiz.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You have the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Are you looking for some good news? I think it's about time we had some good news amid the doom and gloom. Let's find out what's been happening in Britain this week that will make you feel chirpy, positive. Adam, what's your good news story?
So mine is, I like dog stories. So this is a memorial that has been unveiled to a valiant police dog called Finn, who saved his handler from an armed suspect in Stevenage. And it made a lovely sort of...
So where's Finn now? Is Finn dead?
I don't know.
I guess as it's a memorial, he's probably passed on. But well done, Finn.
It's meant to be a positive story.
Yeah. So well, no, it is positive. Man's best friend, dogs. Good boy, Finn. Good pooch. Chloe, yours?
Well, the Red Arrows are going to be treating us to some fantastic displays over the next few weeks and the start of September as well. So August is going to be jam-packed. I think the next place they're going to is Blackpool. They'll be in various other places, including Falmouth and Clacton. And for me, it was a big highlight of my childhood, the Red Arrows. They always came and visited my town every year. It's so exciting. It makes you feel patriotic as well.
Yeah, so talented. I had a mate who lives in Norfolk. She posted on Instagram the other day the Red Arrows practising over her house, just whizzing by. It was great. Also, I saw a Spitfire in the sky above Sussex 2 days ago. Just whizzed ahead. I heard it before I saw it. It was great. Bill, yours?
Holland was the first country to outlaw smartphones in schools, and because it happened a couple of years ago, there's been a chance for research to be conducted, and the results of that are kids are less distracted, they pay more attention in lessons, and, critically, they're more sociable, and I think we should follow suit.
Why aren't we going to follow suit? I would love to see it in British schools. Take the phones away. You don't need them. I survived.
I think the argument is that most schools have the choice and are doing it, but I think it needs to be enforceable.
Yeah.
You know, it is not good for kids to constantly be obsessing over their phones, having access to social media, certainly during school time.
Yeah, it's bad for adults, let alone children. I'm just trying to find my screen time. Charlotte, in the meantime, what's your good news story?
Mine is in the Times, and it's that everyone is eating at 6 p.m. after work now because Gen Z lives so far away because they can't afford to live in London. So they finish work, they can't go home and then go back for dinner. So everyone's eating at 6. Restaurants are accommodating people eating at 6. That's music to my ears because I love going to bed by 9. So, yeah, the new normal is restaurant, fine dining at 6 p.m.
Maybe they're prioritising sleep as well. I'm a millennial, aren't I? Yeah, I mean, I finish work tonight at midnight, so I'm not sure what I'll be getting my hands on. Maybe a McDonald's or something.
And I think you failed in your objective of getting to bed by 9 tonight.
Yeah, I know. My GB News evenings don't.
It's worth it, though. Ben Leo Tonight, we have fun, don't we? Right, mine is about a man who snaps up a painting at auction for just £150. I used to love auctions, by the way, when I was a kid. He snapped up a painting at auction, 150 quid. He's hit the jackpot because it's turned out to be an original Salvador Dali, now valued at £25,000. That's more than 160 times what he paid for it. Ever had any good luck stories like that, Adam?
No.
Scratch cards?
No, not really.
No?
But
Not a lucky guy.
I used to like auctions and things like that as well. A bit of a geek.
Do you know what I did? When I was about 11, this is a top secret now being revealed to the nation, I went and bought a stuffed golden eagle. So I had a stuffed golden eagle in a big glass cabinet, and my mates used to come around when I was a kid and they used to think I was a right weirdo because I had this amazing... I used to call it Baldy. It was a stuffed golden eagle. Anyway.
What's it worth now?
I sold it. I sold it about 10 years ago. So I had him for about 10 years. I miss him very much. I hope Baldy's doing OK these days, but yeah.
Maybe you'll get him back. Or maybe whoever owns it now is watching.
Baldy, if you're watching, give me a call. I'm still here. I miss you.
Great in the new house, that will.
Yeah, indeed. Right, coming up, it's not the end of the show. Ben Leo Tonight, late edition, is coming your way imminently, including this story on the front page of the Mail. I'm really keen to cover it because I think the way we treat our soldiers and indeed our veterans is a disgrace at times. Asbestos kills more troops than the Taliban. The national disgrace of how MOD homes and equipment caused 9 times more deaths than the 20-year Afghan campaign. And the Times newspaper, the front page, has just dropped as well. Great story about universities to lose cash if students claim asylum. Thank you to my panel. You'll be returning for late edition. Charlotte, thank you very much for your company. I'll see you imminently for Ben Leo Tonight, late edition. Don't go anywhere. Big last hour coming up. Let's get your weather in the meantime.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar,
sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. Storm Florence is on the way with an amber weather warning in force across parts of Scotland, where we're going to see unseasonably strong winds and some heavy rain. It's currently situated out towards the west of the UK, but it undergoes rapid deepening as it approaches the UK through Sunday night and into the early hours of Monday. Sunday evening generally starts dry with clear spells for most of us. However, all eyes up towards the northwest. We see outbreaks of heavy rain arriving across parts of Northern Ireland and then later into western parts of Scotland into the early hours of Monday morning. A little dry further south, but still rather cloudy and quite a mild night and perhaps quite a humid start to Monday for many of us into the start of the new week. A very damp and windy start across parts of Scotland, though. Those winds continue to intensify through the early hours of the morning. Gusts at the coast of 70 miles an hour, 50 to 60 miles an hour on land, and even across western parts of Scotland. At first, we could see those gusts even a little higher, around 80, perhaps even 90 miles an hour. Still windy across the south, but a bit of a brighter start here, and those winds not quite as strong as further north. That band of rain continues to sweep its way south and eastwards as we go through Monday daytime. As I mentioned, it's across the north that we see those winds continue to intensify through Monday afternoon.